Greetings and salutations, folks. My name's Nick, and welcome back to The Outer Worlds. Specifically, the DLC, The Murder on Eridanos, where we are heading over to talk to the Prophet of Profitability, who seems to be on a bit of a company retreat thing. It's kind of hard to tell. Are you villains? Oh, you are villains. Not particularly strong ones. A gaseous pterorei beak. Too hard to eat, too soft to use it as a tool. Just right to sell. I'm swapping out my typical gun usage simply because I'm running a little bit lower on the light ammo. Now, what are the other red targets? Is there like a basement underneath this building that's barred from entry? Does it even matter to me right now? Probably not. Oh, hello. I see the detective vision doesn't care about, the livelihood of that person. It doesn't want to say, beep, beep, beep. Discrepancy detected. There's a workbench. Oh well, they are not our problem. Our problem is way over there. In this section of Eridanos that we have not been to, we've got like 3 quests we can go on. There's the productivity person, there's Dr. Goodnight, and then there's also Cedric. But I think I'm going to go through the order in which I have already received them, which is the main reason why I'm looking at this first. Why, hello! Ow. Mega Canid. Alright. It looks as though I've got a bit of a fracture that's causing me to move real slow-like. Up, there I go. Bellhop, no! You had so many bells you could have hopped to. Other bellhop. I will loot your body as I know your last wishes would have requested.
Nice.
Oh no, Daltrey Danger. Why does this bellhop get a name, but the other bellhops don't? And out of all of the things, his name is Danger. Danger is his last name. Whoops. Oh, there you go. For a second I thought I left her behind. One of them. The Wilderness Exploitation Reserve. Of course it's called that. Of course. Hold on. It was originally called the Wilderness... It's hard to tell what it says behind that. But it was not always called the Exploitation Reserve.
Keep the critters in or the guests out?
I can't believe Helen's gone. We're never going to get a sequel to Terror on Monarch.
Oh yes, that's truly the worst part about her death.
I don't know what I'm doing out here. I'd rather be over at the cantina.
You know, at least she's honest. It's a woolly cow. Look at it. Look at this. Legal hunting supplies. Of course it is.
Gunther, I need to ask you something.
Who in the hell is Gunter? I told you to call me Hunter. Come on.
Oh, right. Hunter, have you seen a little mechanical wandering through here? Might have been wearing my hat.
I can't say I have. I can sell you a new hat if you want. Or some fine, legally obtained hunting supplies. You could go get that mechanical thief yourself.
She's not a thief. She's lost. I just want her back.
All right, Mildred.
Oh, hey there, stranger. Don't mean to interrupt your business, but have you seen a stray mechanical wandering about?
I don't think that I have, sorry.
Oh, that's not good. I hope she hasn't gotten herself into any trouble.
So instead of hunting wildlife, you're hunting mechanicals? Doesn't seem very fulfilling. Well, I suppose I would argue that hunting wildlife isn't that fulfilling either. But that's a
I
whole
ain't no
different
hunter.
story.
At least not in the traditional sense. Wrenches always suited me better than firearms. A mechanical under my care up and wandered off, that's all. I gotta get her back before anyone notices that either of us are missing. The shopkeep says I should buy one of his rifles and go looking myself. But like my machine, I'm not combat inclined.
We can help her out, right? Won't take too long if we're on the job.
I know it's a pain, but I think I need some outside help. Job or no job, I'm not leaving Betty out in the wastes.
And the mechanical has a name, too. Alright, what kind of mechanical is your lost charge?
Betty's just your standard tripod mechanical. Though she probably is still wearing my hat. Without it, she seems kind of naked. Her main purpose is cacao milking, but the only cacaos in the reserve are close. Without a directive, she shouldn't have had reason to wander away from the milking area.
Hope it's not milking anything not a cacao. Almost all other beast milk is toxic.
Nothing a few dozen rounds of processing and human trials can't fix.
Gonna need to find Betty in the first place before anything can or can't happen with what she's milked.
I'll keep an eye out for any suspicious mechanicals.
Hey, thanks so much. It would have been mighty lonely without her. Being unemployed, I mean. Be lonely being unemployed. If you find Betty, try sneaking up and hacking her. If you can't do that, finding a way to stop her current routines should send her back home.
I will see what I can do. Question is... Excellent. The game is actually going to point out where I should be going. So I will go there and take care of that first. That way I don't have to worry about doing that later. Alright, I'm going to try to sneak up on Betty. But I don't know how well my hacking ability is, if that's going to cut it. Oh, Betty's trying to milk this mega cannon.
That'd be for me.
Alright, let's save our game. And see if we can sneak up on Betty. Without alerting the canids. Five seconds? Oh my god. Oh, jeez. Oh, I've got it. Head in a straight line, Betty. Head in a straight line.
They're on us.
Ah, great. Let's try that again. Because keeping your camera pointed
Keeping quiet, Cap.
at an object while holding down the X button, which is the same button, or say the same side as the thumb that would normally also control the camera, is a little bit tricky. There we go. Oh my gosh. That was fast. And, so slow. I'm slightly faster than Betty, then. Even more so when I'm running. Alright, let us go turn in this quest. And then I could just focus on finding the prophet of profitability herself. Hold on. Okay, that seemed like I would be able to jump over onto the roof. Like, the boxes seemed as though they were stacked just right.
Hey, I almost can't believe it. Betty found her way back. Here I was thinking I'd never see her again.
One malfunctioning mechanical as promised. She was trying to milk canids.
Oh, Betty, you big goof. What were you thinking in that little metal noggin of yours? You nearly worried me to death. And ain't you just the most reliable freelancer in the colony? Let me just take a look at Betty here and we'll talk about payment. Oh, it looks like you went in and reset her parameters. Thanks a ton for doing that. Should get me back to work all the faster. Between saving Betty and sorting her out, you've sure done me, and by extension Slug, a service. I've got bits and spare parts with your name on them.
Excellent. Alright then, don't let any canids nip you on the way out.
I won't.
Alright, I also got an item. The Udder Buddy. Used to tighten a specific hard-to-see bolt on Happy Dale Farm's milking assemblies. This wrench is strongly magnetic. Just stick it near the bolt, and the wrench seats itself. Fancy. The thing is, with all these science weapons, like, are they really any good? Like, they all seem to do really low damage. Like, do I use this science weapon that's like 406 DPS? Or this Medal of Honor gun that's 1070? Alright. Excuse me. Though this is a pretty big area if the game expects me to just go to one location. Or even, not so much more than that, 2 locations. So I wonder if there's going to be a point in which I'll find myself having to run around this entire area in an attempt to find this prof. Mauled too many times by cannons, you get the jitters every time one's attacking, making you less effective. Dexterity -1, perception -1, temperament -1, but I get an extra perk point. And I get more damage because of another perk I have. I'm gonna accept this one. Ooh, I got an achievement for all of the flaws I have. I have 3 flaws. That means I do a bonus of 15% damage because of my extra flaws. So what do I want? Additional ammo stock and vendor sounds good. Dilation recharge rate is better. This is a waste. Not too exciting. Penalties while moving. Tactical time dilation restored per kill is interesting. All area of effect and plasma damage dealt to you is reduced. Yeah, sure, why not? Ugh, so slow. These canids, like,
Hey,
they go...
Candy Canyon! I know this place. It's where they did Free Range Fixer.
Like, these canids, somehow, like, they go right after the legs. Oh, hello. Alright. Didn't I have a flamethrower that was pretty decent? Yeah, I did. I'm gonna need to level it up the next time I get to a workbench. Although, how much money do I have? I have 16,000. That is a lot of noise. Join us for the Profit of Profitability seminar. Why is the Profit of Profitability seminar being handled in an abandoned Rizzo's factory, which sounds active?
Okay, nobody needs this many candles.
Wait. Supposedly there's a workbench. Let's see, I can upgrade this. No, it's not that expensive. Or at the very least, it's not that expensive yet. There we go. But that helped. That definitely helped, actually. Welcome. If you are in search of a seminar, please speak to the Profit of Profitability directly. The messages on this terminal are private. Should you read them, your humors may be thrown off balance. Is your curiosity worth the loss of profits? Profit. I've talked with my agents, and they've told me that what I said about your seminars, not taking them, actually lost you about 30% of your revenue for the next 3 months, with future losses projected. When I said I wasn't much interested in attending, I didn't realize that it hit you quite as hard as it did. Guess that's the price of stardom. Everyone listens a little extra to everything you said. I'm hoping, if you've got space, that I might be able to attend one of your sessions today as a means of apologizing. I know that notice is short, but I'm hoping you can fit me in without too much inconvenience. Ruth Bellamy. The real name of Halcyon Helen. Hey Prophet, Whitaker here. Wanted to ask about that, how that mix of herbs I sent you has worked out. I was skeptical at first, but using them for meditation purposes, but hell, what do I know about productivity? That said, be sure to remember what I told you. Don't cut the herbs asymmetrically, hampers the texture. Don't leave them out in the sun, and for the law's sake, make sure you keep the smoke doses small. Last thing you want is to accidentally send someone into a coma, or worse, kill them. Be smart. Profit, the other attendees of tripling profits through transcendentalism, and I have reconvened, and we're all in agreement your seminars are simply top-notch. We've seen a 0.5 increase in each of our businesses in total profits since we've attended your seminar together. Of course, with the price of materials, shipping, and other costs involved, it boils down to more of a 0.1% increase, but an increase is an increase. If you ever decide to visit the Grand Colonial, you simply must let us purchase you a round of drinks. Thanks to you, we certainly have the bits for it.
It's not good enough to be better than everyone. I need to believe.
Who are you?
The profit of profitability has changed my life.
Hello, welcome to the Prophet of Profitability's Private Prosperity Retreat. Stay positive, and soon all your humors will be balanced.
I approve of the alliteration.
That's what I keep telling myself. Anyway, I'm Aaliyah Mason. I work as the Prophet's right-hand woman. What can I do for you?
Tell me how you get that accent. Let's see. For a positivity disciple, you sound a little less than enthused.
Oh, terribly sorry if I gave you that impression. I had a cramp. It's better now. I mean, it might be nice if I had a little inclination of whether the Prophet appreciated all the cooking and cleaning and hours of meditation I do on a daily basis. But whatever she thinks isn't for me to question. I'll do my best to be more chipper.
I was hired to look into Halcyon Helen's murder. I'm gonna need to ask you a few questions.
Oh my. Yes, this is important enough for me to delay my bi-hourly self-flagellation. Ask away.
That's a lot of flagellation. The Prophet had some kind of feud with Halcyon Helen, right?
Yes, the circumstances there are quite unfortunate. For a time, the Prophet was completely despondent. Even the hot coal walks weren't buoying her spirits as they usually do. However, we recently had a high-profile visitor whose presence seemed to alleviate whatever the Prophet's fears were.
Spencer Woolrich?
Oh, you must have misheard me. I said high-profile, not had-profile. Mr. Woolrich comes by much too often to be worth mentioning. Yes. How?
Who was it?
I'm actually not entirely certain. It was a surreptitious visit that stood out because it was surreptitious. Whoever it was must have paid the Prophet quite a lot to keep things quiet.
Huh.
At least that's the only reason I can think of for intentionally keeping things so hush-hush.
Was it Ruth Bellamy? Have you noticed any unusual behavior in the retreat lately?
Well, by and large, no. But something rather odd did happen regarding the Prophet recently. A few hours after our high-profile visitor arrived a couple of days ago, the Prophet asked me to take over sessions for the remainder of the day. At first, I was excited. Thought it was my chance to show her what I could do in charge. But then I saw that she was deeply worried about something. No one saw her until the next day.
Where were you at the time of the murder?
I was here, at the retreat in the company of the other disciples and clients. I rarely have more than a few minutes of alone time. Which is fine, of course. I do what I do in the service of the Prophet, who will, I'm sure, reward me for my sacrifice. Eventually.
That's all for now.
Certainly.
What can you tell me about the retreat?
If you felt imbalanced and unproductive, linger in your malaise no longer. We have all the amenities and practices for calming the ill humors strangling your potential. Sit for hours in our sweat house and sweat them out. or stand amidst burning coals and feel your productive inhibitions burn away. And remember, think positive. Positivity equals productivity equals profitability.
Do you know the Prophet well?
Of course, I've been studying under her for years. I know each of her techniques more or less by heart, and even have some variations of my own, such as the quintuple daily stomach purges. She's promised me that I'd be allowed to open my own branch of the retreat someday soon. Of course, I've been waiting on someday soon for coming up on 4 years now. I'm sure it's gonna happen anytime now.
I'm sure she's saying the phrase someday soon in attempts to do an impression of the
Actually,
Prophet.
before you go, I want to report something suspicious.
Oh.
I noticed the Prophet's dragging something, a bundle, away from the retreat after that high-profile guest arrived. Normally, I'm the one who does her laundry, so it was strange. Especially because whatever she was dragging seemed oddly human-shaped.
You know, when I asked you if something strange was going on, couldn't you have brought this information forward a little earlier?
I could have, but I generally don't have the time or energy to leave the reserve to contact anyone. Plus, there's always the possibility that I'm mistaken. The Prophet hasn't been herself lately, but if I misinterpreted the situation and reported her improperly, I'd ruin my chances for opening my own wing of the retreat.
Are you sure it was a body?
I think so. Had the right size and shape.
I'll look into it. And actually, I think I'm going to focus on that first. That way, if I do find out it's a body, then I could confront the Prophet of Profitability with this information.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
A semi-recent set of tracks in the dirt stands out from the dead leaves and those made by passing creatures.
Identifying human footprints leading out into the wilderness. It is unusual for productivity disciples to wander more than a few feet from the camp.
They're not mine, are they?
Scanning. No. No traces of aether dust, blood, or dimethyl sulfoxide found. Judging by footprint depressions and shoe size, these prints were either made by the Prophet of Profitability or Adjutant Sophia Akande. Error. Recalibrating. These footprints were made by the Prophet of Profitability.
Oh, well then. That narrows things down. Alright, so there was apparently a bit of a bug that happened right at this point in the recording process, and it basically froze that image of the error discrepancy doohickey pointing at the footprints. The gameplay still kept going, and the Elgato did record the audio, but for some reason it stopped recording the video. So, I guess I'll just go through this again.
Line discrepancy detected nearby.
We've got this human-esque shape.
Of this indentation in the dirt. A person of medium height and build laid here for a number of hours. Scanning for other details. Only additional signs of disturbance are a few marks in the dirt.
Alas, my perception and intelligence are not strong enough. Could there have been a corpse here, and maybe the wildlife ate it?
Theorizing. Potentially, but unlikely. Less than 0.01% human blood/muscle tissue detected in area. Eridanos wildlife is not known to consume meals neatly. More likely that individual was only unconscious and left of their own accord.
Strange. Let's keep this in mind. Alright. Now let's head back to the Prophet of
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Detected additional tracks belonging to the Prophet of Profitability.
Let's go back, talk to the Prophet of Profitability. Figure out what happened. Despite the fact that I actually know what happened, as I have already played this section. Alright. Let us save a new game before I go in here. Examine this.
Timeline discrepancy detected. Analysis suggests this to be a variety of herbs. Herbs have been uniformly treated with a pungent chemical mix. Warning: ingesting, smoking, or inserting non-corporation sanctioned substances into your ears may be harmful to your health.
Why would they be inserted into your ears? Burning these would generate some pretty toxic smoke.
Side effects from extended exposure include dizziness, nausea, and unconsciousness. Additional likelihood of organ shutdown and or death.
How is this supposed to, increase a person's productivity, is the important question.
Fruitful and productive welcome, sister. I had a feeling you would visit me. I offer a wide variety of productivity seminars. I hope you'll consider taking one. But I should remember my manners. To what do I owe the pleasure of the Special Inspector's arrival?
I'm looking into the murder of Halcyon Helen. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Certainly, certainly. But first, I'd love to interest you in one of my productivity seminars. We'll free you of those potential hampering humors in a heartbeat.
Sorry, Prophet. I don't think I can spare the time. I've got a murder to look into.
Yes, I understand the pressure of one's employment all too well. We've lately been looking into more ways to bolster the retreat stock of bits. But you needn't worry about how this little conversation is affecting my livelihood, sister. Please, take your time. I'm delighted to extend my desire to aid you, sister. How might I assist?
I'm gonna ask you some questions about Halcyon Helen. Please, answer truthfully.
Oh? I'm surprised. I wouldn't think the two of us would have much to discuss about her. We may have had some terse interactions before her death, which I most certainly regret. But beyond those, well, never mind. What would you care to know?
You and Helen didn't get along, I hear.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. The media tends to exaggerate. I will admit that her remarks about my seminars were rather unfortunate. However, I certainly wouldn't sharpen any sabers over it, if that's what you mean to imply. I only do that when my clients skimp on their bills.
Did you contact Helen after you left the Grand Colonial?
I did not. She had no interest in my seminars, and I had no interest in attempting to convert a stubborn actress. Why would I have had any cause to engage with her further?
You shouldn't lie, Prophet. Bad for the humors.
Humors? I know all about humors. I needn't be lectured about them by... Forgive me. I take my work very seriously. Whatever the case, I didn't care to mention Helen's change in decision because she never showed up. I don't see how it matters.
You've got some interesting herbs in there.
I'm pleased that you noticed. Excellent eye, sister. The compound they're treated with is my own invention, designed to unlock an individual's true productive potential when burned. I can't say any more. Trade secrets, you know.
They seem toxic. Toxic enough to potentially kill someone.
None of my clients have ever complained, so I'm sure they're perfectly safe. Is there anything else?
I'm sure if your clients were dead, they wouldn't be able to complain. Someone said they saw you dragging a human-shaped lump into your yurt. What is a yurt?
Who said that? I'll be sure to give them a special seminar on not needlessly implicating the person who puts food on their table. It was a bundle of clothing, sister. Even productivity geniuses need to do laundry from time to time.
Oh, a yurt is a tent. All right. The quicker I get the truth, the faster I can leave you alone.
Yes. I suppose the more quickly we get off this subject, the better. I had a visitor, yes. But as it turned out, some of my productivity techniques were too much for them. I had to drag them out by hand. But their peers came and collected them shortly thereafter. I'm sure whichever attendee it was is perfectly safe now.
You said you had no further interaction with Helen before her death, right?
Yes, that's correct. She made it clear that my seminars were of no interest to her.
I saw the message from Helen on your terminal about attending a session.
Well, I suppose that does complicate things. Whatever the case, I didn't care to mention Helen's change in decision because she never showed up. I don't see how it matters.
I followed your trail to where you dumped something in the wilderness.
Oh, really? What did you find there? What did I dump?
I think it was your morals.
Clever work, Inspector. It seems even I can't slide my way out of the trap you've so intricately weaved. I admit it. I killed Helen. By mistake. Helen changed her mind and wanted to attend one of my sessions. I, knowing the importance of the seminar, desired to truly galvanize her, though not to stop her heart. So when it came time, I chose to double Helen's dosage of productivity-enhancing herbs. I left her to meditate, and when I returned, she was dead. After that, I entered a less than coherent state. One of my disciples, it seems, witnessed me as I dragged Helen's body out into the wilderness.
The wilderness? You didn't dump the body at the Grand Colonial.
Do you jest? The guests at the Colonial eat no shortage of strange things, but I think corpses are perhaps too strange. The creatures of the wilderness are much less picky. Besides, the hotel is ridiculously far. I couldn't have made it all that way without someone realizing I was dragging a corpse.
Are you sure Helen was dead?
I'm no medical professional, but that certainly seemed the case. Usually my customers at least writhe or mumble after a session. My productivity-enhancing herbs typically do induce sluggishness, but I suppose they must have been enough to do her in if her constitution was truly that weak.
Actually, I don't think you killed anyone. Certainly not Helen.
What? Is this some kind of joke? You're an inspector. It's your job to arrest me, isn't it?
The only thing, let's see, Halcyon Helen's body was found at the Grand Colonial. She was killed there.
I don't believe you. I think this is all a trick. You're trying to catch me in a lie. Get me to reveal my productivity secrets.
Yes, how did you know? Look, if Helen's body wasn't where you left it, she must have awakened and walked away.
No. Someone must have moved it after I killed her. One of my business rivals, waiting for me to fall into a false sense of security so they can strike.
The only thing you've done is be completely negligent.
No. You can't trick me. I finally discovered what's happening. You've been paid off. Someone else learned that I killed Helen and is going to use that information to blackmail me. You think I'm going to let this injustice happen? Ha! Tell the constable that I killed Helen. It's 1,000 times less miserable than whatever my enemies have planned.
whether or not you killed Helen, I think imprisoning you is probably the safest option.
Even if you think I'm mad, it doesn't matter. None of this does. Yes, I think that's smart.
All right. Let's go talk to the administrator. Tell him what I have found out. But I cannot fast travel from within this location.
Inspector?
Yes. I finished my investigation into Jasmine Leva, the prophet of profitability.
Ms. Leva earned that title, but not for the reasons you'd expect. The profit business has been profitable for the hotel. Not so much for Ms. Leva's followers. So, tell me, what did you find?
She really wants to be arrested.
She wants to be arrested? That's not the kind of behavior I expect from a suspect. Perhaps she's carrying a guilty conscience. Does the prophet strike you as a reasonable candidate for Helen's murderer?
Maybe. She needs to be detained until I'm done with my investigation.
Arresting the prophet could spell the end of her career. But that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Thank you for the update, Inspector. I'll include everything you've told me in my official report.
I'll be back, because I do not know who killed Halsey and Helen. Hopefully this recording worked, and hopefully all of my future recordings work. In the meantime, got any suggestions for someone to play next? Leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a good night.